Hi everyone, it's Paul from PS Productions, and what I wanted to do today is go over the differences in the Fotga DP500 to follow focus models. Now, unfortunately, it's probably the only thing this company didn't really get right was that they didn't name them differently. I wish they had maybe named them Fotga DP502 Model 1, Model 2, Model 3. They didn't, but that's how I like to refer to them, just to make it clear to people. And unfortunately, you will see sellers, and I have gotten questions in the past with people who ask, hey, why is your follow focus so much more expensive than this guy's follow focus? And usually what the problem is they haven't noticed the subtle differences in between them. And a lot of, unfortunately, there are some unscrupulous people who will try and sell you a lower end model for the price of the most expensive Fotga because it has the same name on it. So let me point out to you the differences and what you are going to get that is exactly the same on all the models that are very nice, and then what the differences are in as you go into the different upgrades. So the first thing I'll start with what is the same on all three models. The first thing that's the same is we'll start with this adjustable view mark up top here, which is a great feature. It can go 360 degrees all the way around. So any place that you would want to mark and view your follow focus from, you can move this mark and start setting your marks, which that's a great feature if you're shooting high shots or low shots, or you're holding your rig over your head and you get those focus points put in there and you still need to see this view mark. You know, when you have a fixed one, and a lot of them you'll see do have fixed marks, you can't do any adjustment, and if you can't see that thing, it can make it very difficult to work with. So that's a great feature. It's on every single model. The other thing that they all have in this gearbox is the reversible gear. This gear can be put on either side of this gearbox, which is nice if you're shooting with small lenses like 50 millimeter primes or 35 millimeter primes. You can move this to the other side, which will help it get in closer to your camera and make setup a whole lot easier. Earlier on follow focuses I had in the past, sometimes you could not move this gear, and when you were shooting with a real short or small lens, it made it very difficult to get that lens gear meshed up. So this, having this two-sided gear option, will solves that, and it's a real nice feature to have, and that is also on every model. Now, the other thing they have is gear dampening. Down here, if you see this screw down below, as you tighten this, it makes the gears tighter inside, and it'll slow the movement of your follow focus. And if you loosen it up, you'll see it will really move much quicker if you're doing fast focus swings. So that model, or this feature, is on every model. The next feature that's also is on there is a magnetized view mark. So this can be removed. So if you need to clean it off, or if you wanted to, you can pick up extra ones from Fotga. And if you had, if you wanted to set marks for a different scene and just be able to swap these in and out. But this is nice, and you can get it back in the same spot. It's got this special notch, so you just line that notch up, and then it's magnetized. So you just get that into place, and as long as you have the notch lined up, you'll see that just locks into place like that. So that's the other standard feature. Now, this type of mount that the Model 1 and 2 come with is a nice mount. The only downside to this type of mount is if you are using a matte box or you have things attached in front of it, you have to take them off to get this on. So if you didn't have your follow focus on and you went to use it, anything that would be in front of it, you have to take off. It does have nice resettable head screws to help give you the maximum amount of real estate when you're working with stuff, because things can get tight in here, and it can help to be able to move these around, and sometimes that gives you a little extra real estate when working with your rig. And this type of mount you're going to see on models 1 and 2, and then to be able to slide in and out and mesh up with your gear, all you have to do is loosen this middle screw here, and you can slide your follow focus in and out. So this is the basic one, and this is what you're going to get on your models 1 and 2. Now, let me show you what Model 2 is and what's different there, and also Model 2, and I guess we would say Model 3. So, okay. So, Model 2 would be this follow focus here, but it would still have this connection. It's not going to have this quick release block that I just put on here. This is actually Model 3. This is the highest end Fotga they sell. But the only difference between Model 2 and Model 3, which would be the middle of the road version and the highest end version, is this block right here, this quick release block. And instead you would get this one. But let me show you what is nice about this. And the other nice thing with this quick release block is it can be used on any of the 3 models. So even if you decide, say you want Model 1 that doesn't have the hard stops, and there'd be quite a few people out there who don't have any need for hard stops. If you are shooting with a fixed lens, like a 50mm prime that has stops, hard stops in it, you don't need a follow focus that has adjustable hard stops. Now, for those of you that don't know what that is, or if this is your first rig, I'll explain it to you this way. Let me just pull up this lens here. So on this Nikon lens I have here, which is a zoom lens, you'll see if I come here to the infinity mark, the lens everything will stop moving on this is the focus ring. It will stop, but if I push a little bit harder, you'll see I can keep moving this ring even though it's not moving inside. This is what I like to call a lens with a soft stop. So you'll feel it to stop, but you can drive past it. Well, the problem when shooting video, and that's why these type of follow focus with hard stops were created, is by driving past this, you mess up any marks that you would have put on your follow focus. So what you can do, if you have this style with the hard stops, you would set your lens to infinity. You would then move this hard stop to it, match it up. Then you would move your lens all the way to the other end till you feel it stop. And there's where it stopped. And then I would set the second hard stop, because you can see there's 2 of them on here. So now, if I was using this lens, as I move, I can't go beyond that point. It will stop, and these little stops will make sure that it stops without messing up any focal points that I would have marked on here. So that's the major difference when you move up into the Model 2 and Model 3, is that you're adding these hard stop rings that are adjustable on here. Now, when you move up to the Model 3, what you're adding then is this quick release block, which is a very nice block, and it will also work on the Model 1. So if you want this quick release block but you don't need the hard stops, it's just a $29 accessory to add. Now, there's some great things about this. One, it has a set of 1/4-inch threads here, which you can attach into in the bottom or the top, and it gives you another place to be able to attach an articulating arm or another piece of gear. And I also have a really cool video that shows how with an 11-inch articulating arm and this block and a follow focus, you can actually use this follow focus to shoot from your camera with no rig whatsoever, just using that 11-inch articulating arm, and it gives you a nice little tight package for shooting in a confined space, like if you're in an elevator or a car, and you can still use your follow focus. So check that video out. I'll put a link in there so you guys can see that. But this is a great feature for $29. It does make life a lot easier, and I'm all about that when I'm working with my rigs. Anything that can help me set things up quicker. As you can see, all I got to do to move this around, loosen this, and it will pop right off, and I can put it, wherever I need it. And I don't have to be concerned with the other one where I would have to take everything off that's in front of it. So that's the major differences between the 3 versions of the Fotga brand follow focus. And I hope that clears any questions up that anybody would have had, or why you might see some different prices out there on the different models. And thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions about any of the gear or the Fotga brand follow focuses, feel free to contact me, and I will try and answer any questions you may have. Thank you. Have a great day.